You are now watching Zach Lesage, the best place to learn about competitive Pokemon TCG. Let's get it! Yo, what's poppin' YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Zach Lesage here. Yo, today we're going to be covering over Tapu Koko VMAX. Now, this is a deck that was created by, I'm honestly not entirely sure who has created this deck. I think it was either Chris Franco or Gibby Archer. It's one of those things where I saw Gibby have the success. I think I might have heard that Chris Franco created it. Either way, shout out to the creator of this deck. I just want to make sure that I credit all the players. Tapu Koko VMAX is a card that saw very little success, and then it goes ahead and wins a tournament in the past week or so. Why is it winning a tournament? Well, it's a lot of because players are experimenting with new engines or different card counts in our post-rotation format. So we're going to go and check out this deck list in a second and go over the deck profile. Copy and paste the list from the description. You can even put that into objectivedeck.com. See exactly what you're missing from your game. It's totally free to sign up, and it is something that I've worked heavily on, so I totally recommend it for all y'all to check that out. Give this video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're so close to 6,000. Thank you so much, everybody. And let me know in the comments what you think about this deck. That being said, let's jump into this deck profile and see what we got going on. So looking at this deck, you might be like, yo, weird. There's not a lot of cool cards that you're playing in this deck. I mean, it's only 2 lines of cards, Zach. What's going on? Well, let me explain. So Max Shock doing 180, if you have more prize cards remaining than your opponent, their active Pokemon is now paralyzed. They might not be able to get out of it if they do not play Switch. Or if they do play Air Balloon, you could block them with Tool Jammer. So the goal here is to Max Shock, they can't get out of it. Max Shock, cool, they knock you out. Max Shock, can't get out of it. Max Shock. How are you going to get behind on prize cards? Well, we have this Electrode that allows you to accelerate energies onto your Tapu Koko VMAX, and you knock out the Electrode, which can set off the Max Shock for you. We have 2 different Tapu Kokos. This one has free retreat, so that's the reason why we're playing the majority of that one. This one's great if your opponent has a lot of energies and we need to knock something out with Spiral Thunder, giving us a decent opportunity to attack with it. We have Pokegears, just make the deck a little bit more consistent. We can search out whatever we want. Pat to the Peak to shut off their abilities. We have Tool Jammer to shut off their Pokemon tools. So the whole goal is to kind of be a mid-range control deck and Max Shock our opponent to victory. We'll see exactly how this deck works. So we'll play a game or 2 and see if we can lock our opponent with Tapu Koko VMAX. This is already a winning deck. I mean, it won a fairly large event. I believe it was the Yosefi post-rotation event with around 100 players. So the deck's credible for sure. Let's see how it plays out. So I'm going to call the coin flip, see what we can get going on. We lost the coin flip. That's okay. If we can lock our opponent, we certainly can make up for missing that coin flip. Although it is much better for this deck to go first. Now, this actually seems like a decent hand. We're starting with the free retreat. We have access to a Quick Ball. We have access to a Voltorb. These are really the cards that we want to see. So let's start off with our free retreat Pokemon. And there's no need for us to bench the Voltorb down yet. We'll just bench that when we want to bench that. Cool. So it looks like we're probably playing against Rapid Strike, Urshifu, or SYLVEON. Just trying to figure out exactly what's going on there. Obviously, we'd rather not play against Rapid Strike Urshifu if we had the choice. That would be a little bit tough. But let's see what our opponent flips over here. Yes. And we're not going to put anything down on our bench. Our opponent playing Kricketune. Maybe this is a Rayquaza deck? I always can never pronounce that card correctly. I've heard mixed reviews, and I've always pronounced it Rayquaza, but apparently recently it's Rayquaza, so I could be wrong. Oh, a Galarian Moltres V. Interesting. Maybe this is the SYLVEON deck. And this is fine. We have access to Tool Jammer all aboard, so should be okay. Let's go ahead and go Quick Ball. We could pitch away a Pokegear. Search your deck for another Voltorb. I think that's important. We have access to Electrodes. We want to get another Tapu Koko. Don't bite off more than you can chew, basically. When it comes to playing this deck, let's go for Tool Jammer to stop our opponent just in the active. They might not even play Switch. And we're going to go Marnie. Okay, really not terrible. We have access to double Electrode. I'd really like to use the other Tool Jammer, so I don't know if I want to use the other level ball yet, or what's going on there quite yet. So, I'm going to go ahead here and I think I want to pass. I'm debating if I want to grab out just quick balling away for another Tapu Koko. I don't necessarily think anything bad is going to happen to us, so I'm just going to pass. We could always just push it next turn because we don't instantly need another Tapu Koko VMAX. So let's see what our opponent necessarily does here. Hopefully they just cannot get out of the active. That's our best case scenario. Like if they're locked, oh, okay, yeah, they do play the Sylveon. Zach knows what's going on here. I'm not entirely sure how this matchup should play because they do have the Rapid Strike, Urshifu, and we are weak to fighting. Could be a little bit rough, but if we are able to get around, okay, so they do have access to Tool Jammer, or to get around Tool Jammer. They might just attack us with the Galarian Moltres, but we could just knock it out. That's really the best case scenario for us, is that we could just knock it out. So knocking out a Voltorb is fine. Obviously, we don't want to put anything more down than 2 because we want to force our opponent to 8 prize cards. 1 prize card here, 1 prize card there, 1 Tapu Koko VMAX, 1 Tapu Koko VMAX, 8 prize cards for our opponent. Even if we knock ourselves out, that still counts towards it. So let's see what they're doing. Does have to be in the active if it's on your bench. So that could be a little bit awkward if it's in the active spots. Bird Keeper might be a really cool addition to this deck because it is a searchable with Pokegear. Okay, so our opponent's just absolutely vibing. That's cool. I'm still fine, relatively fine with all of this. I just don't want to get attacked into and then be on the same amount of prize cards. So again, we just have to play this out accordingly. And if they evolve, they do have a way to get around Tapu Koko as well. So back and forth all the time. We could also go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then go for a Tapu Koko VMAX. That's another strategy that we could do. I might end up doing that if that ends up being a little bit better. So we'll see how it goes, but I don't think we necessarily have a great way to get out of the active spot. And our opponent just searching through their entire deck, seeing what's up. I don't know. They're probably just looking through all their prize cards. I mean, they haven't had a chance to search through the deck yet. So I think it's always worthwhile to search through what's going on, and they just grab nothing. Interesting. Now, we don't want to put down another Voltorb unless we do commit to that play. At this point, I think I'm probably going to discard this level ball. I could go ahead and attack into the Kricketune this turn, though, and get up 2 prize cards and then paralyze and be down to 2 prize cards remaining, but it could be a little bit awkward when our opponent does go ahead and knocks us out. So I am going to go quick ball onto this. I think we have to go level ball here because again, this only works from the bench. Yeah, we'll determine what we're doing here quick. We're going to grab the Tapu Koko. I'm going to keep this one here just to have that one in the deck. That seems fine. Let's see what we could go with. We're just going to blow up anyways. There's no reason for us not to. So let's go Bazap Generator. And attach them to your Lightning Pokemon in any way you like. I mean, we could always attach on the active and get out of the active spots. Wouldn't necessarily be the worst. So there's one. Yeah, I think I'm probably just going to end up keeping it like that. So I think that seems fine. Our opponent's going to draw their prize card. Let's see what we can get with Pokegear. Cool, busted, research. So with this strategy, I think we're going to go ahead and attack with a Tapu Koko this turn. We're going to put the Tool Jammer there. We're going to retreat so we can get to the active spot. Is the active spot really wasting an extra spot for us? We don't want to put this Voltorb down because we only want to give up 1 more prize card. Even though we're popping it ourselves, we want to make sure that if we give up 3 prize cards, our opponent could just knock out 1 Tapu Koko VMAX. Cool. So we're going to go for level ball here. We only have the 1 energy, so that does make it quite awkward for us to deal with. We also likely just... it's really tough here to deal with. Let's go ahead here and go for Quick Ball, discarding a Boss's Orders. We're going to go for another Voltorb, because at this point we have to power up this one. So we're going to go for 1 VMAX strategy. Let's go Bazap Generator. And we have to sacrifice a 2 prize card Pokemon this game. So keep that in mind while we're playing this game out. We are going to sacrifice a 2 prize card Pokemon. So going with a Tapu Koko V and a Tapu Koko VMAX strategy, because we did miss our VMAX. Not really the worst that could have happened. I mean, we do have a way to get energies back into our deck, and we can explode and attack again. And maybe that's really what's going to work out for us. We can also just attack with this Tapu Koko V, knocking out our opponent's active. So depending on what they do, we could be in a good spot. Like, again, our attacks do a decent bit of damage, and the Thunderous Bolt did work out there. And they did attach for their turn 2, so if they're just hitting 190, we might just be able to get the knockout on our opponent's Pokemon. So let's see what is going on here. And there's the Rapid Strike Urshifu V. Certainly not the card that we want to see in this particular matchup, because they can just go Gale Thrust and knock us out. But we'll see what else they put down on their bench. We want to knock out 2 more 2 prize card Pokemon. So Sylveon might be a tough matchup, and this is really where Sylveon shines. It has the ability to play a bunch of different tech cards. And if I was playing Shadow Rider, I'd be worried about Galarian Moltres. If I was playing Rapid Strike Urshifu, I'd be worried about Sylveon. And since I'm playing a Tapu Koko deck, I am worried about this. But they did go ahead and bench down another Kricketune V, which I do think is not the greatest idea for them. So if we are able to get the knockout, we are in a very good spot. So let's go for an Evolution Incense at this point. I think that sounds like a good idea. We don't have any of the energies into our deck yet, but we can grab a Tapu Koko VMAX. Tapu Koko VMAX only hits for 180, so it would not get the knockout there, which would be really awkward for us. We'd really like to get away out of the active spot to attack, almost attacking with this Tapu Koko V. I think that that would be a much better strategy for us if that was an option. So let's actually go ahead and try for... Actually, I want to build up that one and then see exactly how it goes. So you want to... Let's go for Electrode. We'll see. Please give us a Marnie. No. So the Electrode's actually not going to matter in this game, unfortunately. So let's go ahead and grab... This Pokemon can't attack. So let's go ahead and grab a Boss's Orders. I think Boss's Orders might be more important. They might not have a way out of the active spots, so that's something that we have to consider. So let's go Boss's Orders goes like this. We're just going to bring that up. We can't attack with this one next turn, but we can go ahead and attack with this one with Spike Draw. There's no reason for us to not evolve into an Electrode at this point. It just has more HP. It's down there, right? So let's go ahead, retreat, send this up, and let's go Spike Draw for 2. And then we have the Path to the Peak and the Marnie, so we can blow up the Electrode and potentially attack. The thing that I'm more worried about is that if we give them enough turns, they could just go Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX and potentially knock out 2 of our Tapu Koko Vs, or knock out a Tapu Koko V on the bench and an Electrode. So that's really where I'm the most scared of. We might have to wait for some kind of boss play and hope that our opponent literally just cannot get out of the active spots. Like, that's the biggest thing that I need to worry about, is that our opponent cannot get out of the active spot, and now that we have to take care of the Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX, this is the reason why no one's really been playing Tapu Koko VMAX. It was really an early format adapter, and then everyone's just having counter decks at this point. And our opponent might be able to hit for a lot of damage here with Gale Thrust, or we'll have to see what they have going on. We might be able to paralyze them next turn. That certainly wouldn't be the worst strategy. So if you had an opportunity to paralyze them and they didn't really have a great comeback to that, I'd be about it. But I think we're just a little bit in trouble here because they have enough outs to knocking out our Pokemon. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Swablu goes down. Cool. They might just go pass here. I think. I don't know what else they really could do. Okay, there's Dream Gift. So they have options. They have options. Now, when it comes to our options, we just have to be very careful on what we do want to do. If we're knocking something out, we have to be very careful of how we're knocking something out. If our opponent's going to have cards like Boss in their hand or access to Boss, we could be in trouble, right? So that's really what we're looking for. Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX spells Doom because it could just knock out this Tapu Koko V and this Electrode on the bench. But we'll see exactly how we're able to get set up for next turn. This is the reason why we just can't knock out with this Tapu Koko V at this point. We might be able to go knock it on a Cricketune. We'll have to see. Oh, they just grabbed an Escape Rope. Cool. So let's actually go for the Speed Lightning Energy at this point. I think it's better for us to have options to more cards. I mean, at this point, let's just put Tool Jammer and Path to the Peak in play. In order for our opponent to draw extra prize cards, they'd have to bring up a Tapu Koko V and snipe us both. At this point, we know that our opponent has Escape Rope. Let's go ahead and play a Marnie. I think that sounds really worthwhile in seeing what our opponent might be able to do or not. So I'm actually going to go ahead and retreat here. And I'm going to go retreat into this Tapu Koko V. That's going to allow us to attack with Thunderous Bolts. Now, I do have an option, and our opponent might just have 3 prize cards left. I'm not entirely sure what they will be doing this game, because they could bring this up with Boss's Orders, and knock out this with Gale Thrust. That's 4 prize cards. We could evolve into a Tapu Koko VMAX, and that might stop some things. I don't necessarily think it would, because they would still go 240. You want to know what? That would stop some things if we do not go for Electrode. They could bring this up. Yeah, they wouldn't be able to knock out both. I think that's actually the best strategy. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm not incorrect. We don't want to bring up the active because our opponent draws 4 prize cards. They wouldn't be able to draw 3 prize cards off this in any capacity. So yeah, let's go ahead, evolve into this. That might cause us to lose the game, by the way. Depends on what's going on. They do have an Escape Rope that they can search out with Dream Gift. So let's go ahead here and go for Thunderous Bolts. The reason why is because our damage output's 180, and this does Thunderous Bolt for 200 damage. So there's one of the Lightning Energies that would have been really great to use with Electrode. I think we have 1 Lightning Energy available in our deck. So we'll have to see what our opponent directly decides to do here. If they attack into the Koko and the Electrode, they're going to be behind on prize cards. If they attack into... Like, we have 2 prize cards left. We're going to see exactly what's available for us to do. They are under Path to the Peak. Okay, they're no longer under Path to the Peak. They have the Tower of Waters. So we're just trying to carefully play around with whatever they can do here. So let's see what their Evolution Incense does. They can grab out maybe the Altaria that searches out a supporter every single turn. They might grab a SYLVEON VMAX if they plan to attack with that. They might not even have... They could always attack with another Rapid Strike Energy. So they are going to go with the Altaria. I think that sounds like a pretty good strategy, if you ask me. We'll see. I mean, we brought it down to 2 prize cards in a matchup otherwise where we are weak against our opponent's Pokemon. They have the fighting type Pokemon. We are weak to fighting. So we are doing a really good... we are doing really well so far. Let's see exactly how this works. I mean, we have 18, they have 18. I don't think there's necessarily going to be some kind of deck out maneuver that we could be doing. But we do have access to Tool Jammer. They might just lock themselves out of play. Let's see what we could do. And if they're not using G-Max Rapid Flow this turn, they could be in a really tough spot. There's a Rapid Strike Energy. This will give them the way to get out of the active spot. I think they're just going to go on the Tapu Koko and then hit on to the Tapu Koko VMAX. Our big goal is paralyzing them, though. That's our big goal. And I know that we put our escape rope at the bottom of their deck. They could have shuffled it through with things like Evolution Incense and grabbed it. I think there's a really low chance that they have it at this point. So let's see. Gmax Rapid Flow. Cool. So we can only power up, I believe, 2 energies this turn. But we can go ahead and paralyze ourselves. So let's try to do that. I think that's the biggest play that we possibly can do. And let's go search through things in our deck to make sure. So let's grab a Tapu Koko VMAX. We only have the 1 energy. We have the double Marnie. They currently have 4, 5, 6, 7 cards in their hands. That could be something that we might want to worry about. Yeah, let's go ahead and go for the Tapu Koko VMAX. Let's go Level Ball. Let's make sure that we're behind on prize cards, so let's go for Bizap Generator. So we have the extra energy. Our opponent's down to the single prize card. They're about to get paralyzed now. And this is really where we're locking our opponent. This would be a great opportunity to go... This would be a great opportunity for us to have a Reset Stamp if Reset Stamp was in the format. We can Marnie their hand away. I think their hand is actually bigger than what it is. So let's go ahead. They've already randomized their deck. Let's just make sure that we have the opportunities to knock out our opponent's Pokemon. And I mean, they are Tool Jammer stuck. Path to the Peak stuck. Let's go Max Shock. They're auto-paralyzed. We did get the effect off, like we correctly played down to being behind on prize cards for our opponents. Let's see what they're able to do here. And this is really the plan of the deck all along. Like, sometimes it just stumbles upon you depending on how your opponent goes for it. Sometimes it does not. But you got to play carefully with how you're popping your Electrodes and offering your Voltorbs to your opponent's Pokemon. And if they just have nothing, we could win the game. So let's see what Altaria brings for them. Hopefully they don't have some kind of access. We have 320 HP, so currently they can't knock us out with this. 190 plus that is 310. They'd have to have a way to switch and attack with Gale Thrust. They'd have to have a lot of things, right? And, I mean, we didn't get a Pokegear. We didn't get a Boss. We still could. We didn't get a Speed Lightning Energy. But that's really where we could kind of force our opponents. Here's a Marnie. If they're just going Marnie and putting that on top of their deck using Guru, they might not necessarily have everything available. So we'll have to see what they're able to do here. And I'm just trying to figure out if we're able to win this game. I mean, it would suck to just be one attack away. But this game was incredibly close, and the extra spread damage at Gmax Rapid Flow is certainly something you just don't want to see in this matchup. You really want to be hitting VMAX Pokemon and paralyzing them throughout the entire game. They attach their energy there. I think so far, so good. We should be able to get Boss here too, which is probably the big thing. So Boss was statistically in those cards. If we're able to take it, we're able to take it. And just paralyzing our opponent, properly using Path to the Peak, properly using Tool Jammer, cutting off all of their outs. And let's go! We took it with the Tapu Koko VMAX deck. What a wild game we were able to play with the Tapu Koko VMAX deck. We were able to beat the Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX deck by properly popping our Bizap Generator Electrodes at the right time, using Path to the Peak and Tool Jammer to lock them in place with Paralysis. It goes with my kind of strategy of if you throw enough things at your opponent, there's a chance they're going to miss at some point, and really they missed that last turn. That's why we were able to win. So great deck overall, super fun to play. Might not necessarily be as effective with the way that players are building their decks nowadays, or the amount of Rapid Strike Urshifu decks that are available in our metagame, but still, I think it's worthwhile to give it a try out if you want to. The list is in the description. Feel free to copy and paste that right into PTCGO. Give this video a like if you haven't already. It does help out with the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And let me know in the comments what you think about this deck. That being said, I'll catch up with all y'all later. Have a great day. Peace. I want to give a huge shout out to everyone who's become a channel member. It's one of those things where I appreciate every single person who watches my videos, and I mean, that's really where it counts, but for the channel members, they've gone out of their way to financially support me, and I truly appreciate that gesture. It's one of those things when I started channel memberships up on my channel, and I just didn't know if anyone was ever going to do it, so I truly appreciate everyone taking the plunge, taking a leap of trust, and investing in me as a content creator. Truly makes a difference for me each and every month. If you haven't already thought about becoming a channel member, you might want to contribute to the channel, and I do put everything back into the channel to make it the best possible place to watch for Pokemon TCG content. Again, I truly appreciate everyone. Thank you so much. Cheers. I truly appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this video. It means the world to me. And my goal with this channel is to spread my love of the game and knowledge with our entire Pokemon TCG community. If you haven't already, help signal boost this video to other Pokemon TCG fans by liking it, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing to the channel. Hopefully we reach our goals really soon. Check out this recommended video, and have yourself a great day. Thanks.